Survivors of infidelity, what's the best revenge story you know? Okay, so I'm a loud talker. I know I am, and I work on controlling the volume of my voice when I'm speaking to anyone, but it's difficult sometimes because I don't realize how loud my voice is. Anyway, before my divorce my ex constantly pointed that out to me when we were together. She would say, "I'm right in front of you, why are you yelling, what's wrong with you, you're just an idiot who talks too loud," stuff like that. She would do it to me every time, all the time, no matter where we were or who we were with. I think she enjoyed embarrassing me. Anyway, fast forward 18 years. She cheated on me and we divorced. She denied it at first, but when she couldn't anymore she finally admitted it. She listed all the things that she hated about me and made it a point to tell me what they were. Wouldn't you know that my loud voice was at the top of the list. She couldn't stand it anymore and her exact words were, "The sound of your voice makes me sick to my stomach." Okay, fair enough. I told her that in order not to make her sick I won't speak to her ever again. Which I'm proud to say those were the last words she ever heard from me. That was 13 years ago. Recently one of my kids, they live with me now by the way, told me he didn't like visiting with his mother anymore. I asked him why and he said she's always shouting. I asked if she was mad at him or his brother maybe, he said no. I asked, is she arguing with her husband? Yes, she married the guy, he said no. Why all the shouting then, I asked. He told me that the husband is going deaf and can't hear her, so she has to shout at him all the time so he can hear her. Now, if that ain't karma revenge, I don't know what is. My ex cheated on me with 5 different women at the same time. We'd been together 7 years, so we tried to work it out since we'd finally be at the same school, him finishing undergrad and me grad, but we are both the same age. Long story short, he made my life hell. Still cheating but being possessive and manipulative even when I wanted to leave, which made it very hard to write a thesis. In my last year he really cranked it up. Making me late for meetings, locking me out of my appointment, even went so far as to show up to my place at random hours having climbed up my balcony. He really lost it and became jealous when I started job interviewing by calling to tell me my dog was dead while at a huge interview. Needless to say, all of this kept him so busy as schoolwork tanked, and when graduation day came, I had a job and his GPA was 1.8 and dropped out. I finally had the job and means to leave him, and he hated it and realized he couldn't control me anymore. That was 10 months ago and I've had 2 promotions. He on the other hand has gained 50 pounds and struggling at his data entry job. I read a story on here a few years ago about a man who found out his wife of 20 years was having an affair after she became pregnant by her affair partner. She wanted to divorce as quickly as possible so that she could marry her affair partner. To move the process along, the wife agreed to let her husband have everything in the divorce. She had been a stay-at-home wife, but her AP was a doctor and made a great income. The AP was also married and also offered his wife just about everything for a quick divorce. The wife and her AP figured they could make it back quickly on his salary as a doctor. The week after the divorce finalized, the ex-wife married her AP and left on her honeymoon. While still vacationing, the new husband died in a freak car accident. The ex-wife suddenly found herself 6 months pregnant, absolutely no marketable skills or job history, and absolutely nothing in assets. The jilted husband said he felt bad for his ex-wife that things didn't work out how she planned, but felt no reason to renegotiate the divorce settlement with her. It wasn't intentional revenge, but it was the best story of affair karma I have ever read. When I found my ex-wife out, I read some posts on Reddit that she made with her Reddit account, which were detailed descriptions of what happened when she was sleeping with AP. Oh, it hurt, that's for sure. My heart started beating so fast that I thought I was going to have a panic attack. The first thing I did was announce it on Facebook for all of our friends and family to see. I shared her posts. Then, I emailed her family in Brazil and told them about it and said it was nice knowing them. She owns a cleaning business, so after that I left reviews online for her business, sharing what she had done. After that, I called her and told her to leave and never come back. She was with AP when I called her. She came home only to get her laptop, the one that she left unlocked, so I could find her Reddit usernames. When she got home, she tried to explain, but I didn't let her get a single word in edgewise. I just kept screaming, "Get the F out of my life and don't come back." The next part I'm ashamed of. I went around the house smashing all of her things that I could have gotten in trouble for, but I was filled with anguish and rage. I've never been a violent person, nor have I ever raised my voice to her until that day, not in 14 years. Well, I turned the house upside down and found $3,000 in cash that she had been hiding. I kept that. When she came back with a friend to get her stuff was scattered everywhere. The only kind thing I did was only take half of our joint savings account money out before I called her. None of this made me feel good. The whole situation was absolutely terrible, and 9 months later I'm still recovering. My friend's mom, we'll call her G, caught her husband cheating back in the day. He went on a business trip, but actually went on a beach trip with the woman he was having an affair with. G had suspicions but ended up confirming it because, on the way back from the grocery store, she decided to drive by the suspected woman's house and ended up finding her husband's car in the driveway. It was the middle of summer, so he has left his windows slightly cracked for whatever reason. So she starts keying, kicking, hitting his car as anyone might do, but then impulsively decides to take the steak she had just bought, unwrap it, and shove it through the window. Then topped it off by pouring a Coke in the car as well. So in the middle of summer, for an entire week, a hunk of meat and soda was just spoiling in the driver's seat. I can't imagine what it smelled like. Must have been a nice thing to come home to after a relaxing vacation. My revenge story of the narcissist that had me paying for the gas in the truck I paid for, so he could go screw his girlfriend, unbeknownst to me, that he finally left me for and married. He kept emailing me, trying to facilitate a hookup. His tremendous ego would not be put off by my refusals. He even tried recounting our intimate experiences, in great detail, in an attempt to convince me. I often brought up the fact that he was a married man. His reply was, "That doesn't mean we can't still enjoy the strong physical chemistry we had." I put up with these ridiculously explicit messages for a few years. Then I replied with a Tolstoy novel of what I really thought of him and sent every single message to his wife, including his D-pics, as I'm certain she knew he was in a relationship when they started dating. I just wanted to let her know she wasn't so special that he wouldn't cheat on her. Once a cheater, always a cheater. I sincerely hope she felt an ounce of my pain from betrayal. My only regret was that I couldn't be a fly on the wall when she was confronted with the irrefutable evidence and the subsequent confrontation. I don't want to put too many details out there, but oh, I put the AP on blast. Went up to her job and let the manager know everything. That was on the day I found out. After that, I'm not going to detail it all here, but let's just say that I played the long con and have waged psychological warfare on her off and on. I'm bored with it at this point, but at the time it felt so good. I was very, very careful not to do anything illegal and never messed with her or her property. But let's just say that anyone that happens to Google her name will get the full story. And even better is the fact that her picture shows up as well, so there will never be any doubt if it's about her. Should be fun for her future employers to find. Side note. I know this is immature, best revenge is living well and so on, but the damage that she and my husband caused me was the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. I would honestly have rather gotten physically hurt over the emotional pain that I felt. I was angry because I knew that he was paying for his mistakes on the daily, but she seemed to just move on with her life without a care in the world. So yes, it's immature, it's petty, but in the end, nothing I've done can compare to what was done to me. And I've healed and am no longer interested in her life, so no need to tell me to quit doing it because I have. Not my revenge but a client's. He had stumbled across his wife's infidelity and was planning on breaking it up by informing AP wife. What his research revealed is that AP wife was quite well off and that her husband was dependent on her financially. He also knew that AP was fat and bald, whereas he outclassed AP in every way. He hatched a plan. He got in touch with AP wife. He played the betrayed husband to the nth degree. She commiserated, and he started gently flirting. He knew from his single days that he could get most women he wanted into the sack. It worked. They began a very physical and emotional affair. He then began to intimate that they should end up together. It became a love affair. He really had not anticipated it, but even better. His wife picked up on it. Shortly, there was a confrontation. AP wife left her husband for the BH. AP was angered beyond belief, and guess what, he blamed his new position on the wayward wife. Basically, if they had not started an affair, then the rich wife would not have left for BH. BH and AP wife had a fairly fabulous lifestyle. Ex-wayward wife had to go out to work, as her AP had split. AP found a shitty little apartment and began to work. His ex had a prenup and enforced it. My client ended up married to the AP wife. They have homes in several cities. His ex and her AP have not seen their ex-spouses for years. They live in poverty. Suits them. The best happened to a client. They had been curious about swinging, but he could not bring himself to do it. She maneuvered a four-way with a coworker and his girlfriend. When things got going, the coworker's girlfriend decided that she did not want to play. He tried to get his wife out of there, but she was having none of it. On the drive home he asked her if she knew this was going to happen, and she said it was a fair probability. 10 miles from their house, he threw her out of the car. Then he disappeared for a week. She finally found him and begged him to forgive her. He leveled her world and the coworkers. It was made quite apparent at their office that this happened. They were so embarrassed that they quit as soon as they could. She was livid. She loved the job. He told her that if she wanted that job, there is the door. She seethed, and then calmed down. She found another job. Things went to the same old same old. Except, he said that he had enrolled in classes. 2 nights a week to work toward his master's. He looked like he was quietly boring. She liked boring. The last year was a nightmare comparatively. Too bad that nightmare had not quite come to an end. Somehow, one of her girlfriends saw him out on one of the nights he should have been in class. She asked him if he went to dinner after class with a female classmate. He said, "No, that is my girlfriend." "Sorry honey, but you manipulated me to sleep with OM. So, I did not think that you would mind me having someone to screw that did not treat me with that level of disrespect. You did not actually believe that I would just quietly keep it to myself." "No, sorry, I should have walked forever that night, however I wanted you to have an image of me getting you back." She called him a monster, called him every name in the book. He said, "Maybe next time I will arrange a foursome and have the guy walk out on you mid-stroke." He completed his revenge by telling her mother why. Not directly infidelity related, but here goes. My ex's stepmother was the quintessential evil stepmother. The second she and my ex's dad had children, she got shipped off to boarding school and largely forgotten about by her father's side of the family, something her father was always remorseful over, but didn't know how to really deal with. Well, my ex grew up and gave up on ever really having a relationship with her father that wasn't ruined by her stepmom. She and I ran a private investigation firm for years and dealt with cheating spouses on the regular. Neither of us was prepared for this one to fall into our laps though. One morning while we were getting ready to leave town for a job, she got a Facebook message from some unknown guy asking if she knew stepmother. She answered and received another message nearly instantly stating that the sender was a fireman whose wife had been caught cheating a few months prior, and he couldn't sit by and let someone else cheat without warning others. The night before, he had been driving down an old country road and stopped at 2 cars that looked to be broken down to see if they needed help, but by the time he got to the back windows of the car, he realized that something else was going on. So, he snapped a few photos, got back in his truck, and ran the license plates of the couple he found, and when they came back to different last names and addresses, he decided to find the families of the couples and warn them. He couldn't find my ex's husband online, so he found what he assumed was the daughter and told her. Y'all, I have never seen someone cry such happy tears in my life. Revenge for all the time she had been kept away from her father had just been dumped in her lap by a complete stranger, and this form of revenge was literally how she paid her bills. I made her sit on the info, including photos, for 24 hours while we thought it out and gathered a plan. We called her dad up and took him to lunch, warning him that we had some tough issues we needed to talk to him about. When he saw the photos, you could see the relief on his face. Some random stranger had come along and opened up a huge exit door from what he called an absolutely abusive marriage. We all agreed that more proof was needed because she would probably want to fight in court, so, X and I took the case on ourselves and started stalking her ourselves. Legally. We caught her 3 days in a row before deciding we had enough. Every time it was the same pattern, something my ex's dad said was a regular occurrence that he just never realized was her cheating. She was an avid bike rider and would spend hours a day out riding her bike. We picked a day when her stepmom would be coming back from a business trip to have all the fun. We got there early, packed everything she owned into boxes, loaded them into a truck, and waited with her father for his wife to come home. The instant she saw a manila envelope in her husband's hands and a smile on her stepdaughter's face, she knew what was going on and started screaming like a banshee. "How could you do this to me, you little bee?" Calmly, my ex cut her off. Easily and happily. In the end, she gave up the house and full custody of the kids so she could go sleep around without worries. None of her kids wanted anything to do with her, and my ex and her father now have a great relationship. I've seen tons of people stick it to a cheating spouse, but never one that felt as good as my ex getting her father back from the evil stepmom.